Strange Adventures issue 11, obviously in many ways the big event book of the week. Not an event and like a a comic book event, but as a prominent issue with big ramifications, with the emotional heights of the story. Last issue revealed, at least in theory, that Adam might have made a deal with the Pict to leave Ran alone, and in turn he will help hand over Earth to them, and his daughter was taken as collateral whilst this deal was playing out, and she's not actually dead. And we ended with the tease of him coming home and Alana going downstairs to greet him, which is where we start off on this issue, and she immediately slaps him in the face. And I think we'll go back and talk about the flashback story separately, just because I know we don't usually do that with this, but I feel like the conversation's so like it's one big scene that it's just
there's
hard
a couple
to...
of points where it intercuts nicely. Don't get me wrong, in terms of the way it's structured in the book
and the flow,
but for talking about it would be awkward.
And she just says, "Is she alive? Just answer me that." And he's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. He plays dumb. He doesn't, And she yells, "This is my effing daughter." What's
wrong with you?
And there's this moment where she says, "Just is my daughter alive, Adam?" And there's that great like 3-panel sequence where he kind of looks shocked, like has a moment where he thinks, and then gives out an answer, goes, "Your daughter," and he sort of says it as if he's offended that she phrased it that way, but you can tell that he's the clockwork, the gears have run in his mind, and he's trying to think of a way to answer this that'll work, that still doesn't reveal the secret.
It's like, okay, she knows something. How much does she know? What can I get away with? How far can I go without telling the truth?
Yeah, and she's pouring a drink at this point, and he says, "What are you talking about? Where's this coming from? It's terrific messing with us." And she just immediately throws the glass of booze at him.
Yeah.
Which was really great. It's obviously the art here is all fantastic, and it has to be, Gerrits has to do all this emotion. I love the joke in the dialogue here where she's like pouring another drink. She's like, "Adam, seriously, I actually want to drink this one." Like, don't piss
the one
me
is
off.
us like, "I will throw this at you again if I have to."
Yeah. And she says, "You don't have to be a hero right now. Just be a man. As in confess to whatever it is you've done. Where's your daughter?" And he says, "Give me the drink." Right? And he calls her my effing wife, the princess in the tower. Like he's diminished it. Like this. Do you know what this issue does? Like, obviously there's confliction from the previous issue about what type of character he is, because he might have done this. But there's so many little lines of dialogue in this issue, before you even get to like some of the stuff that he does later on, that really makes you start to turn on him, like as an audience member. Like referring to her as the wife in the tower, like she's this damsel which we know she's a badass. We know she can like fight for herself. We know she was in the war. She went through a lot of stuff on her own. We know she has this determined, like she's very smart, to the point where early on we were looking at her that she might be the villain, because it felt like she was playing the politics so well.
She was masterminding everything.
Yeah, so we speculated that she was masterminding the whole thing, and yeah, so referring to her as this, the wife in the tower that he was protecting as the hero. And he admits that she's here. She's in orbit around the, she's in a Pict ship, near Mars, I think he said.
Yeah.
So. It's like, okay.
And then it's like, she looks healthy. She says she's doing well. He's been in contact and speaking to her for God knows how long. The years at this point that she's thought her dog was dead, and he's been talking to her the whole time.
And she slaps him. Like, she slaps him and then slaps him and goes to slap him again. He grabs her hand. And to me, I almost got an implication that she got a few hits in before he finally stopped her. Like it feels like there was like just a sequence of repeated hits of slaps.
I didn't get that. For me, it was the second one where he let her have the one. And then he stopped.
And he's like, "Oh, you don't get I saved Ran, I sacrificed everything," and he starts to gaslight her, like as if like he made the right choice. And he's like, "I did it for you, did it for you and your father, blah 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 blah." It's what I thought you'd want me to do. And she slaps him again, and it's this thing where you get to the point where you're like, "Yeah, slap him." Like I wanted him to get slapped in that moment, like. Mm-hmm. It's what I thought you'd want me to do. You think? And she calls him a coward. And you wee little Earthman, they fed you lies and you asked for more. And she's like, "Alana, my love, don't you don't call me weak." And she's like, "Weak?" And it's like the one time she looks like she's smiling the entire issue is when she gets to call him
Smirk.
weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then says that Mr. Terrific's stronger than him.
And do you know what the fact is that this is the sort of thing, if she was being a vindictive person, this could just be her trying to hurt his feelings. But she is being honest here. She's like, no, that is a strong man who stands by his ideals. This is not about, dick measuring here. This is about making it very clear that you're a weak person who did this and lied about it and gave in to all this. And it's like, damn, this book is not holding back from going down this path. Like, it's committing to this direction. It's committing to what he's done. And it's like, hey, you just confessed. Like, he kind of figured this out, and you've just admitted to it. I'm going to go.
Now the real heroes are going to go and save her.
Yeah, it kind of paints this idea that he kind of trying to paint this image of this superhero for her, thinking that he needed to like win her love. When everything in the flashback shows is that she was already falling for him anyway. It was never something he had to do, but he felt like he did. Even though he already had a daughter with her, they were already in a relationship, but he still felt this need to play the hero. I don't know if I really got this before, but a lot of this conversation, a lot of the themes of this particular issue, really does make it feel like it's kind of hitting at some toxic masculinity, and just sort of like the way he's handled things and the way he's triggered by certain phrases. And so it's like, yeah, I'm going to get the real heroes. I'm going to get Superman. I'm going to get Batman to go and save her daughter. And that's when he pulls the blaster on her. We get the full page spread.
Oh, what a moment where it's like, Adam is the villain of this story now.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt. Like that, up to this point, there was still maybe there's coming back from this. Maybe there's explanations. This moment is that the moment. Yeah,
absolutely. It gets the full page because it needs it. Because the weight of her turning around, the close up of her reaction, then you turn the page and it's this full page spread of him standing with the blaster. And obviously, it's a kind of a shock that he's even willing to do this, but she does like walk away, not really believing that he's going to. And he tries to explain, like they'll just barge in and it'll get her killed. Like, no, like we have to do this. We have to do it this the way that I made the deal. We can live. And the line that's repeated at the end and the back matter, if you want to call it that comes up here in this conversation, is when she says, "To save me, you killed me. Like, you put me through me thinking my daughter was dead. Like, you put me through that. That killed me. That was how you saved me." And he starts yelling that he won. What he did worked.
So unhinged in that panel.
He does.
That top one where he's I was winning, I won. And again, the lettering, the bubble is very big in comparison to the size of the characters in this point. It's bold. It's extra thick outline.
But the outline's not consistent though as well. It's very like up and down. Like it's
it's not one big solid block, but it feels very natural.
Yeah. And she basically, almost calls his bluff and says, "That's a nice laser gun, what are you going to do with it?" And then does like fight him down. Like this idea, we go back to like the start of this conversation, my wife in the tower who I had to save, and she grabs the laser gun out of his hand and like they struggle with it.
And then this page, it's a 9-panel grid and it's intercutting with the flashback. Yeah. And this is in the 4 panels, top, left, right, and bottom. And the bottom one, it just has the pew pew, which this book has ingrained.
It's almost the classic trope of 2 people are struggling over a gun, then you hear a shot, and then it's like
exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, and who got the shot, and the final panel is her saying, "Oh, Adam," and she's lying on top of his body, as he might already be dead, he might be dying, but he's got a big hole in his side. There's blood, and it's obviously paralleling with this sweet ending almost of like the very end of the war where they killed the last Pict on the planet, which is what the flashback story was.
Yeah, this final page is split into 2, well, 3 if you count the big quote in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 pieces of artwork. One at the top, which is the Shayna piece, which also says "Oh, Adam" as the dialogue. It shares that in both.
But notably, that's got a tattered edge, like it's like an old postcard that's become ripped at the edges. And the panel at the bottom is completely straight, as if this is reality. This is the truth.
Well, I would say that has always been the story, right? It's never been the history. It's always been the story.
I think what gets, because we did a lot of speculation at the start that a lot of the flashbacks was the propaganda version in his book that wasn't true. I think as we've gotten further along, that idea kind of faded because it was getting to things that maybe weren't in the book because it was being more honest about certain things. But it's become very clear that the idea behind it, in the long run, is that their romance, at least after what happened with the daughter, is built on a lie. Like that is the lie. Even to Alana, it's a lie.
I actually still think it is the propaganda in the book is what we've been seeing. I think it's been just honest enough that I can see a autobiography having those details and getting awards for it.
I don't think it discounts it. I'm just saying that it's got a different layer by the end where it's like also a lie to her, and it's like the romance itself is a lie, which even their love was propaganda in a weird way. It was him holding on to this relationship in a really toxic way that obviously like there was no ending to this other than their relationship breaking down. So obviously this is super continuity stuff because Adam Strange turned into a complete villain and he's now possibly dead.
To be fair, when was the last time we saw Adam Strange in continuity?
That's a fair point. But we'll get this last issue now with this ending, and presumably it's going to be about saving her daughter from the Pict, you'd imagine, but probably not in a straightforward superhero comic way where that's just a straight story that's going through it. I'm sure it's going to
be probably an excellent issue, but I don't think it's the one we're going to get.
I imagine that'll be playing out in the background whilst the main story focuses on a conversation or something with her.
I could almost see them. The story of the book on Ran has been told. I can see them maybe using Shayna to tell the story of the Justice League trying to rescue, and Gerard's following, Alana somehow, just whatever she is doing on this side of it.
Yeah. And will the daughter even make it out? Will she die whilst they try to save her? I mean,
will Adam ultimately be proved right that if the Justice League go barging in, she'll be brought back in a casket, as he says, or was he wrong the whole time?
But even if he's right about that, he put her in that situation. That's the thing. Like, they might still save Earth. Like, even sure, she might get shot because the Pict might just kill her when they're on their way in, but they'll still might save Earth because of the Justice League, and that's what they do. They might be able to win this fight.
After all, it's just an attempted invasion.
Just an attempted invasion, yes. But I mean, it's hard to say that this issue wasn't phenomenal. Obviously, we didn't mention the flashbacks much yet, but it's this story of them making a deal with these creatures who live up in the snowy mountains, who like eating people of all kinds, but they agree to help them go and take out the last couple of Pict who are hiding.
Giant owl-looking things, but they have like 4 arms.
Yeah,
they speak in sign language.
But their fur's like a coat almost because their hands came out of it.
Yeah.
But they're tall. They're like 7 foot, 8 foot tall or whatever because they're taller than the humans are.
Oh, they're like twice the height. They're probably like 12 foot.
12 foot. I'm not looking at it right now, but I just remember.
Yeah, I think they're more or less like double the height.
Oh, fair enough. Then they're about 12 foot. So, and obviously that stuff's all guards with Doc Shaner, and obviously the way it intercuts with the present story is all to juxtapose their final sort of like victory, which is a sweet kind of romantic moment for them, with the breakdown of everything. But that's why it works so well, is because everything in this scene is a lie. This victory is a lie. The daughter being dead is a lie. The romance at this point is a lie.
Fundamentally, why everything in this book has worked has always been the dichotomy between the story and the reality. The idealized version, and then the cold, harsh, muted colors of Gerard's, miserable truth.
And it makes you creeped out a little bit because there's a scene where he tries to kind of initiate sex. And it just makes you feel a little bit sick that all of this is like, this entire situation is all just orchestrated to make him look like the hero.
It's the sort of thing where if you were getting just the story of the book, like just the Shayna story, which could have been a 6-issue mini on its own, like, just this story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have had the same weight to it, of course, but just as a fun little adventure story that wouldn't have felt out of place in the Adam Strange canon. You'd have gone, oh, this is a cutesy moment of him kind of flirting with, having some fun with his wife, right?
It's kind of what I said at the start, is that the sad tragedy of this is that she was already in love with them. They were already married, and she clearly was already destined to be in love with them. She felt that from the day she first met him. Like she said that, and herself basically. But so that's this idea that obviously they would have romantic moments and they would be intimate with each other anyway. But the sad part is that he's felt the need to build this big heroic story that's a lie, and it makes it all feel kind of serious because it's all under this false pretense, and it doesn't matter that this would be happening anyway. Because the part of it is that if she knew what he really did, it would already be over. So it's just it has this extra layer to it, and it's it's wonderful. I'm very fascinated to see how it is. We kind of have to wrap this up. We're running out of time here for this recording, but I will definitely dive in depth for that final issue and really pick it apart, I think, and analyze the story as a whole. And hopefully that's what all three of us are there for, because I'm sure Matt will have many thoughts.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah. So there you go. That's Doctor Strange. What were you giving this issue 11? The penultimate issue?
That was Strange Adventures, not Doctor Strange.
Sorry, Strange Adventures.
11 issues, and you're still doing it.
Dr. Adam Strange.
He probably has an honorary PhD in something. Archaeology. It's a 9.5. It's not quite the 10, just not quite. But
yeah.
Oh, it's close.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a 9.5. It's just been a phenomenal book. And this is exactly what I wanted it to be. I think I even said last issue, the next issue should just, like, the present day story should just be them having the conversation. That's all it should be, and that's all it is. But obviously got a big dramatic ending, but it should just be them having this out in the open. And that's what it was. That was the right choice.